Have you ever stopped to ask, who taught me how to love? Who taught me how to think about responsibility? How to think about family? How to think about myself? Most of us assume our emotional lives are simply who we are, that our reactions and habits are written directly into our DNA. I think that assumption misses a deeper reality. We run on an emotional operating system, and the code for that system is written long before we become aware of it. The mind reorganizes around painful experiences. If emotional safety depended on keeping others happy, we become experts at regulating everyone except ourselves. Every habit answers a single question: how do I stay safe? What we call personality is an elegant survival strategy. We adopt these behaviors to protect ourselves, and over time, we forget we ever put them on. If we did not consciously choose these strategies, we have to ask who wrote the code. Our minds are shaped by many invisible authors. Our family, our culture, our community, and the specific generation we are raised in all draft the rules for our psychological baseline. The mystery is how these outside voices slip past our defenses. We need to understand how another person's expectations embed themselves so deeply that we eventually experience them as our own inner voice. To discover our actual identity, we must distinguish between our own intentions and the inherited expectations of the people who helped shape us. In his book, The Divided Self, the psychiatrist R.D. Laing argued that a person's inner experience can split from the false self they present. We create this false front to stay secure in our environment. The psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott expanded on this by showing how children naturally adapt to whatever their emotional environment demands. If maintaining love requires a specific behavior, the child becomes the exact person the room needs them to be. This adaptation is a biological necessity. It protects attachment. It preserves belonging. It helps the child survive emotionally when they are entirely dependent on their caregivers. The complication arrives years later. The original environment fades, but the behavior persists. The child who learned that love requires total self-sacrifice grows into an adult who feels guilty whenever they say no. A mechanism designed to keep a child safe becomes an invisible cage for the adult. Psychology has a specific name for how this happens: internalization. It is the precise mechanism where an external rule mutates into an internal belief without our conscious awareness. This mutation happens through the repetition of ordinary moments: a disappointed look, a parent's silence, praise for being the good child. Repetition writes the code. First, the outside voice becomes the inside voice. A parent's instruction plays automatically. Next, the repeated expectation becomes an automatic feeling, a sensation triggering on its own. Finally, the feeling becomes identity. We simply believe, I am a caring person. The ultimate trick of internalization is that the origin vanishes. The rule mimics our natural conscience so well that we accept it as truth. This reveals the true nature of the inner voice. A thought can feel natural without actually belonging to you. Many of the beliefs that feel most instinctive were once someone else's emotional expectations. Reclaiming your mind requires a process called earned security. You intellectually audit your own mind rather than simply fighting your emotions. Instead of asking, "What is wrong with me?" you begin asking a forensic question: who taught me this? Psychological healing starts when you stop trying to fix your personality and start investigating the historical origins of your self-beliefs. Taking control of your inner voice does not demand that you reject your past, your family, or your culture. True maturity is realizing you now have the conscious freedom to evaluate those rules. You can decide which inherited voices serve you today, and which ones no longer deserve to guide your life. Recognizing these invisible authors is the beginning of authorship. By identifying the origin of an inherited rule, you gain the agency to choose which emotional rules become part of your future.